Hello and welcome to Slooh's latest Clubhouse clip, a part of a very special series on the road to the total solar eclipse of 2015. This is a spectacular event that is going to be happening in less than half a day now. It's almost here. It's getting so very close. I can almost taste it. What about you, Paul? How is the atmosphere over there? It's getting just so close to this final event.
Well, we've been problem solving all day, and until you just said 10 hours, I was kind of feeling okay about things. But yeah, okay, thanks for that, Eric.
I didn't say anything. I never said it. I swear I didn't say it. But we're coming to you live. Actually, I'm coming to you live from Smoky Hollow Studios in Slooh HQ in Washington, Connecticut. But our astronomer in the field, our observatory engineer, Paul Cox, is coming to us from a place that I don't think a lot of people would have heard of if it hasn't been for this eclipse. Where exactly in the world are you, Paul?
Well, the map is showing, where are we at the moment? Yeah, the map's showing Iceland. I am on the little island just to the bottom right of that. And it's the Faroe Islands, which is an archipelago in the North Atlantic Ocean, kind of halfway between Iceland and Norway.
It's one of the very few places that will be able to see totality with this incredible solar eclipse.
One of only two places that where you can see totality from land. It's here and Svalbard, which is another group of islands which belong to Norway. The Faroe Islands are an autonomous region of Denmark, but they're still kind of governed partially and share police and military and stuff like that. But I'm actually in probably one of the best places. In fact, we know we are in the best possible place to see this eclipse. We are in the tallest building in the capital city of Tórshavn, and Tórshavn is how you pronounce it, I believe. And we are in this tower that overlooks the entire harbour and the entire city. And we'll show you, I'll give you a guided tour a little bit later, but it's an absolutely fantastic place, and we're going to be broadcasting live from the roof in 10 hours' time.
Wow. I mean, I'm really looking forward to it. And how's the weather looking over there? I know we're all talking about the weather all the time, but so close to it now. What's your prognosis?
Yeah, well, it's the forecast has remained pretty static, and it certainly was accurate today. It was forecast for rain today, and it hasn't stopped raining today. But that kind of should be comforting, because the forecast for tomorrow, it's actually been getting narrower and narrower. Kind of broken clouds and sunshine was for the whole day tomorrow on Friday, eclipse day, but it's kind of getting narrower and narrower. But we've still got 3 or 4 hours around eclipse, which they're still forecasting as partial cloud or sunshine. So that's going to be fine. You know, partial cloud doesn't really stop the enjoyment of watching an eclipse. To me, I've always said that it adds something, because in the images you see the clouds moving ahead, because, you know, the eclipse goes fairly slowly with the moon slowly going over the sun. So to have something in the vision, in the images, that kind of really brings out a 3D perspective to it as well. So we are very hopeful. But it has affected what we've been able to do today. I will turn my camera around very slightly here, and you can see we're in this enormous control room.
Oh.
which is stuffed full of beautiful antique maritime bits and pieces, which I'll show you a few of those later. But it's meant that we haven't been able to set um, up on the roof, which is where we really want to be, and it's where we're going to be tomorrow. So we've had to make a lot of assumptions about cable lengths and things like this, and setting up the equipment down here. I have given you a photo. You may not have noticed it, but try and dig out the one that shows a ladder on the outside of this building. So when we kind of talk more about that, you'll see where we're going to have to be carrying these telescopes and computers and all of our other specialist gear up on the roof. So it's going to be a little bit scary, shall we say, especially at about 6 o'clock in the morning in the dark.
Oh, geez. I'm just thinking, as there's this chance of clouds at certain times, not at others, it's going to be really fascinating in terms of just an adrenaline rush to see when
Yeah.
exactly we're going to get these visualizations of the eclipse. Is there going to be a cloud in the way at the pivotal moment? Are we going to be able to fight through the weather? I think it gives a little bit of a rush and a battle feel to it.
Well, it does, and the veteran eclipse watchers, they don't give in until the very end of the eclipse, because on so many total solar eclipses, the clouds just happen to have parted right at that very moment, just at totality. So you never give in, and we're not going to give in tomorrow, even if it starts off. And we do believe that, we're not going to be able to even start getting up on the roof probably until an hour before the eclipse starts. So that's
Wow.
cutting things a bit fine to shift all of this equipment around. But that's because we think it's going to be raining all the way up until that point. Now, here is that photograph. Now, we're going to jump in a little bit uh, onto this, but we are in a building which is the equivalent probably of about 10 stories, something like that. You can see a little bit of the height, but you can see there's a kind of balcony here, a metal balcony, and you can see a white aerial. That's the VHF aerial that they use to talk to the ships. But you can then see this ladder leaning up. Now that goes up, that's what, 3 meters, 12 feet, right? And you can see where we've got to walk up the ladder between that and the railing, and there's nothing beyond the railing except a very a very long fall.
It seems like it's nice
So
soft grass below there. You can just sort of roll down the hill, keep rolling.
I'll
It
keep I'll
seems
keep
nice,
telling myself that
lackadaisical.
on the way down. Eric said it's soft grass on the way down. So,
uh,
but why don't we back up, Eric? Why don't we back
oh,
up
sure, yeah.
to you know
And we can do a little bit of a tour. I'd love to hear the story of just where you've been, where you've gone, how you've come to this point in this expedition. I think this is a great opportunity to do that. Here's this first image that you've given me, and where are you here, and where were you starting?
Well, this is actually just on the way back. So the night before this, we had that fantastic aurora show,
Hmm.
and I'm with a group of such experienced observers here, who have been looking at eclipses and aurorae for 30 years, and they have never seen the kind of show that we had, that kind of auroral display as strong as that, as we had on that live show the other night. Um, and it kind of spoiled it for me because they've all told me it doesn't get any better. So really, I'm not going to go and see another aurora. I'm going to leave that one. But on the way back, this is to the airport. Now, this is quite worrying. You can see in front, I'm driving the vehicle that this is in and holding my camera phone, and the vehicles in front are the other expedition vehicles. And this is in Iceland on the way to the airport, and conditions were getting a little bit tricky on this kind of high altitude part. So we were getting a little bit worried about that. And then at the airport, this doesn't show it so well, but as we were sitting on the flight was delayed. As we were sitting on the flight, pilot comes on and says, we've got to have the de-icer. He's not going to get to us another half an hour. And while all of this is going on and we're sitting there, the snow is falling and starting to
Oh.
build up on the taxiway and the runways and the apron and stuff like that. And we were just sitting there willing the plane to get going, because we had been told as well that that was the beginning of a huge storm that was about to hit Iceland. So we escaped Iceland basically, and we made it here, and what a stunning, beautiful place the Faroe Islands are. This is just the baggage. I know this looks a bit like holiday clips, but this is kind of showing you a little bit about what goes on behind the scenes in these expeditions. Virtually all of the people there were members of this expedition. That's just my luggage there. All right, so the 2 trolleys there is all the equipment that I've had to bring, and it's 2 telescopes, it's multiple cameras, it's backup, it's redundancy. You don't come this far to find that, oh dear, your laptop's broken or you've forgotten an adapter. So we've been lugging this. Oh, and look at that image on the right. There's the ladder. All right, that is a far, far better photo of the ladder that we are going up with our
Oh no.
100 pounds of highly technical, highly specialized, very expensive equipment at about 4 or 5 o'clock this morning. So, but
Ugh.
here's the view. So we arrived yesterday. We had a bit of a sleep yesterday. We arrived here. I haven't actually told you where I am. It's called the sort of Maritime Studies and Engineering. So this control tower that looks out over the harbour, this is where they train all of the pilots who go out and pull the ships in. And I'll show you in a sec. They've got kind of mock-up decks. Sorry, the bits where you control the big ships from. And you can see in that photo, there's a few of the Eclipse ships in port at the moment, 2 left earlier on, and I think there's another one still to go. And what those do, they'd be great for us to go on because they chase the clouds, they chase the holes in the clouds. But the problem is you can't image the eclipse properly when you're on a boat, even when it's rocking very, very slightly. So this is where we are, and this is the views I've had all day, and I can't imagine actually a better location for us to be in. So this is the room that I'm standing in. You can see these kind of demo flight decks for the ships and stuff like this. And we've had quite a few students up here today. They've been coming in. They've all got exams on Monday. And
Oh yeah.
I don't know where that one is. Oh yeah, that is up here as well. So that was earlier today. So there's going to be 4 or 5 of us in here for tomorrow. And the other stuff that they've got in here, I will move my webcam as well, just in case you get a better view of it. But there are these beautiful maritime artifacts.
Oh wow.
They're the big ship's compasses. There's telescopes. There's all of kind of old, beautiful maritime equipment, which is just absolutely stunning. And that's kind of been my office for the day. So it's been pretty cool.
I think here's one of them.
Yeah,
Now, this looks gorgeous.
they are. I mean, they're just absolutely beautiful pieces of engineering and carpentry as well. And they all contain, as I say, these ship's compasses, which actually proved very useful to us today. When we first arrived, we needed to find out where we'd be setting up the telescope. So all of these fantastic compasses, which must be several hundred years old, or a couple of hundred years old, some of them, we were able to exactly determine where the sun's coming up. So, and this
Oh,
is some of the, they've got some antique radar gear up here as well. So this is where we're broadcasting from tomorrow, but not inside. As I said, we're going up on that roof. So that's going to be an adventure. That is my office. So that is where I'm sitting now. I've got 2 very large laptops, 2 telescopes, 2 cameras, basically 2 of everything. In fact, we could do with another one of me here. So if there's any volunteers out here, not just to carry the bags, but there's a huge amount of preparation, that has to go into setting up all of these feeds, and we have the press getting involved as well. Now, this is the this bit of the deck where they teach ship pilots, how to bring the ships into harbour. So I was joking earlier that if we are clouded out tomorrow, then I'm going to get my hands on that and see if I can actually remotely control some of the ships out there. So bring
that
bring
sounds
some of
good.
those
Yeah.
eclipse parties back.
Let's make sure we get the Slooh members what they came for. And I mean, just as you're talking through all this, it seems like this whole expedition is so incredibly wondrously delicate. There's so many moving parts that go into it. There's so many things that could so easily go wrong that are just completely out of your control in terms of the weather, in terms of flight patterns, in terms of all of that. And as this goes on, there's so much preparation that you and the Eclipse expedition itself is doing to make sure the best possible chance of getting this incredible view of this event. And I think,
Mm.
even though there's been some, careful close calls in terms of the storm, in terms of the ladder,
Yeah.
it seems like you guys are so close to getting to something so great. And so, I mean, well, kudos to you really for how far you've come. And we are, all of us here, we're cheering you on and looking forward to seeing what comes out tomorrow, because whatever it is,
Well, yeah.
it's going to be spectacular.
It will. And, you're really right on, about the things that we can't control. But what we have done with all of this technology, with all of the testing that we do, all the setup that we do, we have done everything we can, which is within our control. And after that, this is astronomy, for goodness sake. You can't do anything about clouds if they're going to come. We are very hopeful tomorrow. But actually, the bottom line is we can't do anything about it. So let's not worry about it. Let's do all the preparation we can, go through the event tomorrow, and wait for those clouds to part just at the right time so we see the total eclipse of the sun, which I am so looking forward to. This one is going to be lasting for over 2 minutes, 2 minutes and 1 second from our location. As you know, the Kenya one, Totality, only lasted for 12 seconds, and that only popped out through the clouds for about 2 seconds. And that was my last glimpse of it over my shoulder. So this one's going to really give all of us a great opportunity to both image it, to watch it online, and really take it in. So we are really looking forward to it, but there's not going to be any sleep tonight. It's 10:15 here at night. The guys did bring me back some supper, thankfully, so I've got a bit of steak that I can eat. I'm going to go back to where we're staying, which is this kind of folk school. They call it a folk school, which is kind of a school a little bit like a Rudolf Steiner school. It's about creativity and art, stuff like that. So I'm going to go back there, have a quick shower, and then actually just walk straight back down here. Got a bit more testing to do, a few more systems to do. It is a hard deck. They kind of put the floor like a ship's wooden deck, but I'm going to try and find a small corner to curl up in and have a couple of hours sleep. So.
Yeah, as long as you are energized and ready for this eclipse, whether it be like you're running on just wild adrenaline from just the whole experience, or if you've had 10 cups of coffee, I'll be there right there with you, and just really looking
Absolutely.
forward to it.
What time
I thought
what time we're starting to tell the members when we're actually starting tomorrow, Eric? What are the timings for the show tomorrow?
that's a good point. And yeah, I know a lot of you are in the America's time zones, and so for people on the in Pacific time, it's going to be 1:30 a.m. on Friday. This is going to be a 2.5 hour broadcast, by the way. And then we have for the East Coast, where Slooh is, we're going to be up at 4:30 a.m. to 7 a.m. That's when this broadcast is going to be. I know it's a work day, but maybe you'll get up early for us or stay up late depending on where you are, because it's one of those things that's worth it just to be a little tired for this
It
day,
is.
because this is, I mean, it's really a once in a lifetime sort of event that's happening here. So many things are just really going to conspire together to bring a beautiful, beautiful view. And so I hope that you'll be sticking around with us. But there's always, if you're not available to stay up late, cook yourself some s'mores, watching in the sleeping bag, whatnot, we will have this available to you, Slooh Clubhouse members, whenever you want to watch it in the Clubhouse. And this is also a good time to sort of bring up that we've had a spectacular show that Paul was mentioning earlier on in the
Mm.
broadcast. This was our Aurora show, our Northern Lights from Iceland. That was just, it was so beautiful. The views were absolutely
Was.
incredible. This is something that you can watch right in our shows region. That's going to be there. And I'm also going to let you know, exclusive to club members, there's this page that we have, the journey to the total solar eclipse, which has all this different information and just stuff that is exclusive to members that you can peruse, that you can see. And just scrolling down here, here's looking at some of the aurora imagery that we just have in the clubhouse right here, like just, oh
And
my
those are
god.
just in the clubhouse. Those were not part of the show. Those are you. Well, it can't be because that was actually me standing in that last photo. So this is what we're doing. This is one of the benefits of membership. There's a lot more content in there, and this was frankly we didn't have the time to be including all this stuff in the show, and we were watching the live images. So it's a great place to download. And Eric, haven't we got a kind of really special thing, which is going to suit people who are in the States on Saturday for people who
That's
can't necessarily stay up tomorrow. So what have we got planned on Saturday?
That's absolutely right. And so if you can't stay up on in the middle of the night on Friday, there's the opportunity to watch this event after it happens. And there's also the possibility that you can join us for our Clubhouse clip after the fact, after all this stuff is happening, because we are having some great partners that are aligning with us for this event, where we're going to be streaming to live from multiple feeds. This in just about 10 hours. But there's also going to be some partners that we have that will not have the equipment to stream live for us, but they're also going to be taking pictures of the eclipse where they are and sending it to us after the event. And so we're going to be able to share with you some never before seen images of the eclipse the day after, just exclusively for you members in the Clubhouse this Saturday at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And so look forward to that. There's so much stuff that is coming. There's so much stuff that has already been posted in the Clubhouse that feel free to peruse, look at it. Also, ask us questions because
Yeah.
during this final Clubhouse clip of this series, we want to address all these things that you're curious about. This is a series for you guys about getting into the shoes of an astronomer, going on an expedition to a foreign land to see the incredible views of some celestial event. And so if you have questions for us, you're welcome to ask us on Show Central on the Eclipse page here, and we would like to address them on the show as much as we can for you that Saturday. So engage with us. We would love to hear what you think and what you're wondering about. But yeah, so let's see. Any last thoughts, Paul, that you might have going into this eclipse that you'd like people to sort of have in mind or prepare for as we're getting ready for this
Oh,
this incredible
I,
broadcast?
I think I just say to all the members out there, just come along for the ride in 10 hours time. You know, it's going to be a laugh, whatever happens. And
Yeah,
we stand a very, very good chance of seeing some absolutely spectacular views of a total solar eclipse tomorrow. So it's a not miss event, don't miss it. So,
absolutely. I mean that's pretty much what I would say. I think you said it pretty well. I would really, I'd love to see you guys join us for this incredible event, and it's just in less than half a day's time. So
stop
please stick
saying
around.
this. Stop saying it. Stop reminding me how little time I've got left to get the rest of the gear going. So
I should send you just a huge countdown in like red numbers to your email, like just ominous.
okay,
It's
just send
coming.
me an email every hour with big red letters, an hour countdown on it. Yeah. Thanks, Eric.
No problem. That's what I'm here for. Yeah, let's all get this countdown into our hearts and minds just forever.
And actually, I would just say this, Eric, as well. We're talking about all the preparation that goes on here, but there's a huge amount of preparation that has to go on back at the studio as well. You're arranging guests, you're arranging all of the video feeds coming in, you have to arrange for all of those to go out, not only to our broadcast systems, but also media who take our feeds and stuff like that. So, good work to you as well. We must do a special on what goes on behind the scenes in the studio at one point.
Oh, well, thank you, good sir. We're very busy here at Slooh headquarters, but it's all it's a hectic, exciting, happy sort of busy because we're working towards getting this incredible event to you guys that, I mean, I'm looking forward to just being able to experience this eclipse myself. It's going to be a spectacular event. So yeah, thank you so much for joining us with this Clubhouse Clips series. This is the second in a series. There's more to come, and there's our Eclipse show coming up very soon. Very, very soon, Paul. It's very soon.
Thank you very much.
so,
Thank you.
uh, so do stick around. Do have a look at all the different resources here in the Clubhouse. And yes, we hope to see you again for another show coming up very soon. This has been Eric and Paul for Slooh.